Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. If you're watching on YouTube, this will feel like a normal Answer the Call, but if you're watching on Twitch, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. It's Labor Day weekend. I work in a casino. I was told I have to come into work today, and yeah, I guess I wasn't told, but I volunteered to help out because I like the people that I work for. So I decided that I did not want to take another week off of Answer the Call, so we're going to do another one. Now, I guess the thing about today is it's not just one topic, it's two. There is, the XenoThreat event that has happened in the last week or so, but then there was kind of a little bit of a bombshell that dropped on Friday with Star Citizen Live with Richard Tyrer, where they talked about how they're going to develop Star Citizen. And I'd like to start with that first, because I think that that's the more newsworthy and possibly polarizing topic, is that they're Squadron focused, which they always have been, we thought, but apparently they weren't. Now, I think this has some really, really big positives, but it's also kind of ridiculous. And I want to start out with the fact that I feel very, very, very vindicated. You YouTube commenters and you Twitter posters out there that have been so obnoxiously nasty to me over the years when I have literally been saying the exact same things that Richard Tyrer said in this video for literal years, telling me I don't know anything about game development, I don't know anything, this is not how game development works, blah, 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 blah. It feels so glorious to stomp all over those comments at this moment, because all I've been asking for was for them to treat the PU like an actual game, and not this development test build where backers who paid good money to play a game have never been able to up to this point. Ever. And some people may look at this whole thing as a big negative, like, oh man, features are going to get pushed to Squadron 42, and we're never going to see them for X amount of time, blah, 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 blah. And, yeah, I mean, it's not all sugar-coated here, I don't think at all. Also, I think the big thing to understand from that video is that that's just Richard Tyrer's teams that he oversees. That's only his pillar. So things like salvage, things like, the power system in ships, things like exploration, things like homesteads, things like, I don't know, a few other things I'm sure that I'm missing don't appear to be going with the same development system. And we don't know, but it doesn't seem like that. This is just a Richard Tyrer thing. And I'm just really happy that we have Richard, that he's made it into a position where he can make change like this. The dude literally said, nobody develops games like this, pretty much. Like, this is not traditional at all. And, yeah, it doesn't really work, basically, was what he was trying to say, without being, like, rude. He was trying to be, like, really nice about it. But to me, how I read it was that this doesn't work, and a change needs to happen, and it did, and I'm really happy about it. XenoThreat, I enjoyed. I think I have very low expectations for Star Citizen's PU, and I think my expectations were relatively met for XenoThreat. I thought players worked well together via the in-game chat, even though VoIP still doesn't work very well, which is incredibly frustrating. But I think overall it was a pretty fun experience. Starting out with the cargo phase, I think players worked really, really well together, and then moving on into, like, I guess the war phase, which is was okay. That's obviously just like, hold down your button until the thing dies. I think we saw people kill the Idris with many different ships. I think online killed it with a Argo Mole. So yeah, there's some weird stuff, but in general, I think it was way better than 1.0. I think it's something really nice to build off of, and I thought it was a very positive experience. So overall, I think everything is like pretty good. I think the one thing that we have to worry about when it comes to the priorities of Squadron 42 is that content could be really dry over the next little bit. I'm very worried to see the next roadmap update, but I'm also, in general, excited to see the future of Star Citizen being more like a game. So with that said, let's bring in our first caller. We have ZANE here. ZANE, can you hear me?
Yeah, I do. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine. How you doing, man?
I'm fine, thanks.
All right, so I did a little bit of a long monologue, but what do you want to start with? Do you want to talk about XenoThreat? Do you want to talk about the Richard Tyler video,
Uh,
Squadron 42 priorities?
yeah, Squadron 42 because I haven't played Star Citizen in a while,
Okay.
and I have never, I never played XenoThreat because it doesn't really uh interest me. So about Squadron, as much as I don't really care about the game, I own it, but it's not the reason why I'm still following the project, why I bought into Star Citizen. I think the prioritization is a good thing.
Yeah.
CIG, in my opinion, they need to release a finished product, both for reputation to prove to the wider audience that they can deliver something they promised, that they can deliver a fun experience. Hopefully, the game is fun, and also on a funding level, I think they need a serious boost in funding if they want to keep running at the same level they're doing now with the current headcount and even expand further. So I think that's a good thing. Maybe not for us that are here for the MMO part,
Mm-hmm.
but in the long term, it's a positive change, in my
I
opinion.
I think it's even good for the people that are here for the MMO part because, like they said, they're going to prove out those features. I mean, they kept using body dragging as an example, dude. Like you body drag somebody for 3 meters and they instantly unlock from your hands. There's no reason to body drag anybody. There's no reason to do anything.
Mm,
The only problem with it is it's only going to be single player features that they do this with, right? Things like they mentioned, body dragging, the moving things around for puzzles and stuff like that. But the issue here is that, like, they talked about ship-based salvage coming with the Vulture or whatever. I think it's the Vulture is the name of it. And who knows what the tier 0 of that is going to be, right? But it doesn't seem like it's a restructuring of the entire company or anything. It was just Richard Tyra going like, "Yo, I don't want to do it like this anymore, and I'm not going to." And then on top of that, like the obvious need for Squadron 42 to just get out the door, so they can focus on honestly what's actually important, which is Star Citizen. And I know some people may think Squadron 42 is their priority and is important to them, but in general, I would say at least 75% of the people who've funded both projects have funded specifically for Star Citizen.
yeah, yeah. Like we don't have the numbers. I don't think there is a way
No,
to
I'm just
actually
guessing.
have
Yeah.
have data, but I guess a lot of people have bought ships for Star Citizen and not for Squadron because they won't be able to use that. So as much as buying ships is for funding the game, people still want to use them. So
Yeah,
I
and
doubt there is
they're only
someone who
used in the PU
yeah
exactly.
yeah. I doubt there is someone who said, oh yeah, let me give CIG 2K for ships just to give them money. I won't use them. I just want a single player. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think the prioritization of the game is also good, as you said, on a gameplay standpoint, but just for some features. especially PvP, dogfighting, and FPS combat. Because the stuff like body dragging that you said, it's one of those features that it can work really fine in a single player environment, but when you start bringing NAT code synchronization with other players, it can break down. So a lot of stuff that maybe works just fine in Squadron can be really broken in the PU. But the stuff that it's like game design, so how your ship flies, how you shoot your guns, capacitors, and all of that stuff, ship systems, weapon systems, all of that stuff will be. Uh, we will see the improvements in the PU too, and I think that's really important because right now, in my opinion, the recent progress with Xeno, like the events that we had, and the stuff that's coming in the future, like inventory, is showing um, even more that the game, the foundations of the game we have, not as like tech, but as game design, they are really not that great.
They don't
Because let me
exist.
give, yeah, they don't exist. Let me give you an example, and you said this too. They are adding looting, but they don't know what
What do
items
we
to
loot?
add to the loot tables because nothing matters because every armor is the same. There is no better weapon. There is no better attachment. It's not like Tarko where if you customize your weapon, it can totally change the handling and what you can do with it. Same with
Exactly.
armors. Like it's all the same. And I think it's maybe a bit less, but for ships too, components are don't make that much of a difference in my opinion. But
They
I mean,
make
that's just me.
significantly more than our weapons, but I do agree. There's no they do. I mean, like certain things do, right? I think things like quantum drives definitely make a difference. I think certain weapons used to, and obviously they don't right now because of the changes. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like the whole thing behind what we've said is, I think you would probably agree too. What they've showed to us about looting and how they're setting up the tables and how they're setting up for the future, that all seems really great and fantastic. But what about the now? So when the feature comes in, how is it used? How is it useful? And that's the most important thing. And a lot of people gave me a hard time about that. But it's like, again, I feel super vindicated by this video because he literally just says what I say in a different way, I guess, and is like, yeah, we need to have the features coming in and being used, not just sit there.
Yeah. The only issue I have is that over the past few months, I've been looking back at the project and like learning the new stuff, like the latest SCL. Um, some I'm becoming every day more worried about the game. It's something that always was in the back of my mind, but now it's becoming more prevalent because I think CIG has great developers, especially when it comes to the core aspects of the engine and all of the technical side. They're doing some pretty neat stuff. But a game is not just the tech, it's also the game. It's like if you want to create a building, you need the engineers and you need the architect. You need the engineers to figure out, okay, how are we building this? If we want to build a skyscraper, how are we doing this? But then the skyscraper also has to look nice. And I'm starting to think that they will release something that will technically be amazing, but it won't be as good as a game because the game part will be kind of an afterthought, something that's
It has
done at
been.
the end. Yeah,
It has been.
so
And it's
that's
been
my
really
main
sad.
worry.
Yeah. I agree. It really has been the afterthought. And again, these are the things that like people have been giving me such a hard time about is like there's no reason why you couldn't focus on the tech and focus on the gameplay. They're two totally different developers. It's the same argument of the person who draws the armor is not the person who decides its features necessarily, or its it's
Or with
XML
ships.
numbers, or they're not the ones who make missions or whatever. You know what I mean? So the idea
Yeah.
behind, while the tech is being built out and these guys are doing amazing things, or hopefully doing amazing things, because we haven't seen a lot of them in game yet, is while they're doing that, there is no reason why you couldn't prioritize the gameplay elements of Star Citizen and making sure they're coming in a somewhat vision related form. So Chris Roberts' vision, they always talk about that. There's no reason why that some of these things should not have been held off until they were where Chris's vision was somewhat, and that's when you get the feedback on them. The feedback right now that you get on a lot of features that come into Star Citizen are like, yes, I can push trolley. Yes, it also blows up ships when I put it in the trolley. And oh, by the way, every place that I grab, I don't know, cargo boxes from have stairs. There's my feedback, okay? Like that's really all it is. It's not detailed feedback on how it's related to this mission or that mission or this thing or that thing. It's always just it works or it doesn't. And the idea behind, is it fun or isn't, or it's not, is the most important bit of feedback. And that's the problem with Star Citizen, is we were never able to give that feedback.
Yeah. Or when we did, it was not quickly implemented or acknowledged. I'm happy
sometimes
that
not
they are
acknowledged at all.
switching. Like they are saying, all right, let's just release everything as not tier 0, because their old approach was, okay, we build this with the community. And it obviously takes longer, because you release something, you take the feedback, then you do some changes, and then you do some upgrades, then you and then you redo the process until you're happy with what you got. The problem is that they barely listen to feedback, and when they listen, that feedback takes months to be implemented. Like a few days ago, I logged into Spectrum just for I don't remember, just whatever, and I saw feedback thread on trading, and everybody in there was livid. Imagine Spectrum, where like it's full of white knights, but people were raging against CIG because they were saying like, is this a joke? We had these threads for months about trading, and we keep saying the same stuff. It doesn't work for these reasons,
Yeah.
and nothing changes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm happy they're
this is
doing
where
their stuff internally.
this is
At
where I
least
don't think
when we
things are
get
going to change, though, Zane. Right? Like, that issue is
no,
not
it's
changing
not gonna
based off of what we learned on SCL this week.
It's not gonna change, but hopefully, if they do more testing, or they test the feature internally during the development, maybe we get a better product. Because right now I get the impression that they create something, like the coder is there, they are told to, okay, do this, they do it because they're told to, they follow the specs, but they don't care how it will interact with the other game elements. They just do it because it's their job, and then we get it into the game, and it has a lot of problems. Maybe if they collaborate the design with the tech side, these these very visible issues can be sorted out before we even get them. But I don't know. Like, I think it will be slightly better, but not perfect or close to perfect, because CIG, not a lot of developers at CIG have a good understanding of their own game. And that's, I think it's one of the biggest issues of the companies, that the developers that play the game, that know what the current state of the game is, don't have enough say in the big decisions. Like,
Perhaps.
there's small guys.
I think you are making a lot of assumptions, and I don't like saying they don't have an understanding of their own game. I think sometimes they have an understanding of the wider vision and not the current experience in a lot of cases. And I don't like that
Let me
necessarily.
give you this example.
But yeah.
When Todd Poppy comes on SCL. Is the PU director or something. I don't want him to know every single IC report, every single bug, every single minor issue in the game. Maybe, oh, this trading terminal doesn't work. No, trading. Okay, so it's a huge feature. It's one of the main professions in the game. He's asked, will trading be fixed? And he doesn't even know what the issue is. So he clearly doesn't play the game. And it also seems like he doesn't know about the biggest issues of like one entire profession. I
Okay.
mean, I don't trade, but I know about it. I barely play the game even.
Sure. The contrary to that, and I'm not trying to. I'm more playing devil's advocate here, okay?
Yeah,
Because Todd looked like really bad in that SCL. Okay. The other time that I've seen him, there was a video that Jared did one time where Todd played, and he just talked back and forth with Jared. Todd knew the game very well and was like, yep, that's a bug that we're dealing with, and this person's dealing with it, and this team's on it, and knew it back and forth. Up and down knew the game. So it's possible he's got more on his plate now than he did then. It's possible that that's not even under the scope of any of the teams that he oversees or the pillar that he oversees. And he's just one of the guys that are willing to come on camera, whereas the people who actually talk about positional desync or trading or whatever don't want to. So that's why they have these, like, Richard Tyrer focuses on this thing, while Todd focuses on that thing, while Brian Chambers focuses on this thing, because there's too many things. Now, yeah, we may know because we sit around and, like, fart around on Twitch streams or Reddit or whatever, so we know the in-game stupid issues that are going on that most of the time, I think, and in a bad way, they just shrug off because the servers are no good, right? But I don't know. I feel like I do have to come to Todd's defense a little bit there. Just in the...
No, you have to, because he's not here, so it's right for you to play devil's advocate. Otherwise, it would not be a discussion.
Yeah, but I'm not even doing it just for discussion's sake. I actually believe what I'm saying, you know? But the most recent SCL he was on, especially about the positional desync thing, he looked really, really bad. And he looked really, really uninformed about what was going on, and that's not good. But yeah, I don't know, Zane. Since we have a fairly short show today, I would say let's start considering wrapping it up. What do you want to end with here?
I just wanted to say, don't worry too much about the white knights on YouTube comments or
I don't, but
Twitter,
it feels so
wherever.
good. It feels so good to just give him the finger.
I just wanna give you this thought experiment. If you said in 2016 that in current year the game will be in this state anywhere on Reddit, forums, wherever, you would have been called an hater, an naysayer, a refundian, a Derek Smart follower. But now, if you say, hey, it's 2021, how come the game is in this state? Then you don't know game development, you're an hater, you're a naysayer, and all that crap.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Get
people
banned
just
from
want to
Spectrum.
defend the game. They just, I don't really care about them, but like people just want to defend the game, and I understand them, because the problem with Star Citizen is that once you're in, you're presented with a dream that nobody else can offer. And for a lot of people, even for me, going back to the dark world where Star Citizen, where the Imagine trailer is not a possibility, it's not it's not pleasurable, and especially if you spend a lot on the game. So
Yeah.
I kind of understand that, but at the same time, I think they're part of the problem, because if the community was more united towards criticizing CIG, I think things will be different. But that's to recrafting.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're seeing this change too. Is
yeah, slowly.
It's slowly happening, but they're realizing that it's just not acceptable to put a product out like this at this stage. It's ridiculous. So, all right, Zane.
Yeah.
I guess we'll leave it there, buddy. Thank you so much for the call. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime,
Have a good
man.
one.
You too. All right, our next caller is Doc. What's up, Doc?
Hey, hello. I'm good.
So, guys, we haven't seen Doc in a while because Doc's a working man now. So we got to catch up a little bit. How's the new job? How's everything? You doing good?
It's all right.
Nice. It's a job.
It's up and down.
Yeah.
It's up and down, but it's all right.
Good. I'm good. Glad to hear it. So, what do you want to talk about today?
It's XenoThreat. First of all.
XenoThreat. Yeah, because you
Yeah.
played a lot of it, right?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
This time as well. It was all right. It didn't. It was actually no. It was interesting, and the cargo is as well.
The cargo phase was
I
the
was just
same,
so-
but it was different.
it,
It was better somehow.
yeah, it was just fun.
Yeah. I think it was fun last time too. It was just you did it over and over again and you didn't feel the purpose for it. But as soon as you finished,
Yeah.
it was like, all right, next phase, boom, go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So what else did you like about it?
I think having like a map as well. This
Yeah.
time around.
Something to work
Yeah.
towards.
Yeah. That's what I always want in this game, like stuff to work towards.
What'd you think of the
And,
armor? We have not talked about
I
this
don't-
on any of my content really yet.
I don't like it. I don't really like it. The effort seems just not there.
Yeah. It's
Um,
kind of... I just feel like for the first... Maybe this isn't the first major event, right? So I think this is like what builds up to hopefully some really like nice story arc in the PU at some point where they better
At some point.
where
yeah.
they need to do better than this. The new Xeno
Yeah.
armor is it's not new, you know? It's just not new.
It's literally not new at all.
There's nothing
It's
new
just like-
about it. And it's
Yeah,
just like
it's-
gray.
it's
It's not
weird.
even. It's not even some ridiculous color, which is probably like a good thing. I think the muted color is okay. I'm actually okay
Yeah.
with that. But the
It's an alright color.
it's just like what the heck, guys? Like I can't describe how hyped I was to work towards the
Yeah,
armor,
yeah.
you know. And then
It's like,
that's what it was.
Oh. That's like, oh, this is not exciting at all.
Yeah. Now, as a collector, someone who like what I love to do in MMOs is collect. In the end, it's about the name or the idea of the armor when you got it. That's all that matters. So this may be
Yeah.
a very rare armor one day and may have value and maybe a cool thing to show off in your hangar or your apartment or whatever you own in game at one point. So for me, that's what actually matters. So I'm not that upset about it. If I was upset, I would be like yelling and mad and normal SaltEMike actions, I guess. I can't believe I just referred to myself in the third person though. That's fucking embarrassing. But in general, the fact that we had something to work towards, even though it wasn't something good, is fine. You know?
Yeah, it was fine. It's the start of something as well. Like
What
it helps.
Doc, listen to this. What one of our moderators, Zeus and Oxia, said in the chat was the best part is that when you wear a weapon, you can't even see the CDF badge. So it's 100% blocked. So it's just a regular true depth torso when you're
Oh my
wearing
God.
an armor and a gun. Oh god, that's so bad. But it's whatever, man.
Yeah, it's whatever at this point.
Yeah. I hope they learn from that one though. That is so bad.
Yeah, hopefully for the next time to do.
For sure. For sure. Doc, before we continue, I'm just going to let a couple people know. Today is a unique day. I have to work early today. So there's a couple people that are joining the green room that we would normally absolutely have you in on the show today. But we're limited callers. We started super early because I have to head out to work today. Because I work in a casino. And when holidays happen, holidays are the days that we work, unfortunately. So I won't be able to bring you guys in. So Kaizen and Jerry, I'm sorry guys, but we can't get you on the show today. Also, today's show is sponsored by World of Warships. I don't know if you guys noticed the little thing in the bottom right corner, but there'll be a link in the description down below. All you really have to do is download the game using the link in the description and then play it for about 10 minutes. You just have to win your first match. It's against bots, and then purchase your first ship. It's super, super easy. You start out with, I think, 7 days of premium, 200 doubloons, a bunch of things. The game's actually quite fun. I'm going to play it right after today's podcast. So, yeah. But hopefully you guys will help support. We're really struggling to get things going here because a lot of the people in my live stream content already have the game to reach the goal. So hopefully you guys out there in YouTube land haven't tried it yet and are going to give it a go. So if you're watching on Twitch, though, exclamation point wows in chat to give it a try. All right? Thank you so much. Go ahead, Doc. I'm sorry. I should have done that in the intro and I totally forgot.
No, it's all right. But like other than the like armor and everything else that was changed, I'm actually quite sad that there isn't like a bar, like a progress bar, like on the website at all, anywhere.
What do you mean?
Like, this is how much of X items that's been handed out, like not handed out, but handed in, and like X amount of that item.
Oh, like, what do you mean? Like overall through across all the servers? Because you obviously have the progress bar with reputation, right?
Yeah.
I guess the idea about, I mean, you see the progress bar in your specific server, though. In a way, it's like, all right, you've given this much Diluthermex, and then, I mean, I think the voice acting is really good about constantly keeping really you engaged with what's going on. You know, yeah.
So, I mean, I would have been nice to like have, but you know, it is what it is at the end of the day, and it's almost over. So I'm pretty sure some people are attempting it now, although I'm not anymore.
Yeah, I think I reached my level 3, and I'm probably done with it. It's starting to get to the point where it's a little bit slower. So now you're getting the situations where like 1 or 2 good PvP player killer pilots. Like I had an experience the other day where 2 players just totally I don't want to use griefed or anything like that because I don't think that's really what was going on too much. It was just they were able to make it a lot more difficult on people, and it was just slowing the progress down so much that it was getting boring because you were just constantly dealing with them, and they were flying in and flying out, and it was just like, eh. So because people aren't as like super hyped and everybody is playing it now, it's a lot easier for it to just be like, it doesn't have the allure that it had. Like, it was way cooler when a bunch of people were playing it, right? Everybody on the server was playing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, there's really little blue carrots all over the place. Everybody's talking to each other. Now you're getting in and it's like 6 people. And you're like, okay, this isn't the same as it was in day 1. But all right, I guess I'll keep going. So, yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. So you're done kind of playing it now. Do you have anything you want to talk about with, like, the Squadron 42 stuff?
No, not really, because I don't think about that as much.
Okay.
Like I have it, but like I don't think about it too much because it's not spoken about as much as everything else is.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
So,
yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know, Doc. Is there anything else you want to add before we let you go then?
No, not really.
All right. Well, it was great to see you and talk to you again. I'm glad everything's going good, and hopefully, with some of these Squadron 42 priority changes, it'll give us something to do and play as a group in the future in better and more fun ways. So we'll have to see.
Hopefully.
All right, Doc. Be good, buddy.
I'll see you around.
Bye now. All right. Our next caller is Michael Krakenov. What's up, Mike? Gotta get your,
G'day, mate. How's it going?
Gotta get your name up here. It's going good, man. So, what do you want to start with? Since we have like a double topic today.
Let's start with XenoThreat because that's probably the easier of the two packages to go over, I guess.
Sure.
Um,
What'd you think?
Overall, it was for me personally, it was a significantly better experience than the first XenoThreat.
Mm-hmm.
Phase 2, which is the cargo portion from memory, because Phase 1 is the chit
True.
chat bit.
True. Yeah.
That whole section where it felt a lot more when you had a lot of players there. So for me, that would be 30 plus players. It felt a lot more alive as a game. It felt like you could sort of see the end goal of what we're working towards.
Yes.
Where you have a massive amount of interaction. And every time I did XenoThreat, I sort of made new friends along the way, which was good.
True.
And when we did it, there was a lot going on at all times, so
Yep.
It kept it interesting. Like when we got attacked on our way back from the cargo by the arrow, the XenoThreat arrow from memory.
Yep.
And then we got to the final combat bit, which I think
that feels
1 out of 10
lackluster.
times it actually 1 out of 10 times for me it actually works. The server would crash or it'd glitch out or something would stop working. So you can tell stability is still a massive issue for the game. I think we have gotten a lot better overall.
Yeah, absolutely. When the event was like full on with the Idris and the Javelin and everything, I mean the frame rates were really bad, and yeah. I mean, in the end, I think like overall, it's still the most disappointing thing about the events and everything in Star Citizen. Specifically with the name XenoThreat, nothing really feels like a threat.
Yeah.
At the moment, and I think that's kind of the problem here in a lot of cases. Like, boarding the Starfarers. I'm sorry, but I don't think I got shot at one time. And I'm not an FPS, like I'm not Shroud, So this is not something that should be the case. But that's to be expected still,
Yeah. Well, we actually had a case on one of the servers that I was on that because the server was lagging so badly, we actually got on board, unloaded all the cargo out of the ship, and then all the AI spawned inside it.
Yep, that happened to me too. It was like, whoa! You heard them like react to the fact that you were there, and I was like, wait, there was nobody in here, and then they're all standing in front of you, and you're like, what the heck? So yeah, there's obviously the same issues. Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I think they can sort of take XenoThreat away as a success overall.
I think so. Yeah.
As far as like promoting community interaction, it did a really good job. Because a lot of people don't want to socialize with randoms, especially in today's world. So the fact that it got people to get together, hey, I need gunners for my ship, I need this, I need people to help me get stuff off Rex. It kind of forced us to get together and do stuff, and then you had the people who wanted to be on the XenoThreat side and made PvP happen, and it was good. Overall, I could just say it was good. There was a lot of things they still need to work on, and I feel like the things that they still need to work on are the things that a lot of people addressed in the first XenoThreat. They have made some improvements. Have they made enough improvements? I'm not sure.
What are some of those things?
Just the final combat section.
Yeah,
just felt very lackluster.
I just think that's an overall game problem still. I mean, look at the state of ship combat that we're in, where they're in this weird place where all the ships are flying similarly. The weapons are almost all the same, and We're in this
Yeah.
really, really weird cycle of ship combat right now where I wonder, like, that's one of the things that nobody's talked about yet about 315 is obviously that team is still making improvements. What are those going to be? I mean, talk about like not needing to do another origin story on Inside Star Citizen because you have no content. Like,
So all that content's getting saved for CitizenCon, Mike. You should know that.
Oh, true. I don't know if you guys know, but it's the road to Digital Citizen Con, guys. So we're not going to tell you anything about anything, and yeah, we're just just move along.
Yeah.
Origin story
overall,
time.
I'm looking at XenoThreat. Well, Ninetales for me was a complete disaster, regardless of anything else. It was just
it's
not
horrible.
an enjoyable experience.
Especially
So,
after
looking
Xeno.
at-
How bad was Ninetales, right?
Yeah.
Xeno was infinitely better.
Yeah. And you can sort of like look at Ninetales is sort of kind of original XenoThreat was still better than Ninetales, but you can sort of see. Well, how long? When did Ninetales XenoThreat originally come out? Was it a year or 2 years ago? I think it was last year, wasn't it?
It was last year, yeah.
Yeah. So within a year's time, we can sort of hope, looking at the changes they've made to XenoThreat, that Ninetales will sort of follow that progression. Hopefully. And speaking of progression, shall we move on to the biggest part of the
Sure.
Squadron 42. Honestly, I'm just exhausted at this point with Squadron 42. I'm very much a believer of they need to get something out the door. It's just they need to put a product, like Star Citizen, air quotes, is a product. It's a live service. So, but if they get out Squadron 42, then they can at least go, this is a completed CRG, RSI, whatever the hell they're calling themselves now, product. This is what we can do with the tools that we have. This is what our developers are capable of. Star Citizen, apparently, according to Rich, it's pre-alpha now. So grats, guys, we've gone back a tier. I'm just honestly exhausted at this point. It's just, I'm like Richard. He's done very well. His team, bar one thing, has always met their targets.
Yeah.
So I'm very hopeful that Rich can slowly bring change to the company, but how long has it taken for us to get to this point where they can go, oh crap, what we've been doing doesn't work? And I think I know, a lot of other people know, Squadron 42 has always been the focus. PU has always gotten the scraps. Even though PU is the one making the money, it just feels like Squadron. Just don't really want to, try not to swear, but get that piece of crap out the door. And I swear to God, if it comes down to now that we're done Squadron 42 Part 2, guys. And then
let's hope not.
And then we're stuck in this hellhole.
Yeah. Let's hope not. But in the end, that's exactly what they're doing, dude. They're trying to get the thing out the door. They're doing it. The fact that nobody's brought up the, finally after 9 years they're starting to figure it out comment. I'm just happy they figured it out.
Yeah.
Well,
at least we're
oddly, I'm the one
somewhere.
taking the more positive, glass half full approach this time on this one.
Yeah. I have a lot of faith in Richard. As you've said in the past as well, his team is pretty much the only team that I give leniency to, because they're the team that has always done what they said they're going to do. They said, this is going to come out. It comes out. They've never gone, oh crap, we're going to have to push it back now.
I think the Montreal team is starting to become the miniature version of that as well. Is like the hospitals were basically done, but the hospital gameplay from Richard's team was not.
Yeah.
And that's why we didn't get them in 314.
Yeah. I just don't know what they're doing. And that's the biggest frustration for me, is that it's annoying that we don't know what's going on. They want to have this open development with us, the backers, and that's what we're here. That's what we brought on board to support, is to have this open development where we have inter not inter not going to say that interchange between us and CIG, that we can say, hey, this isn't fun, this doesn't work, let's make a good game together, let's all be part of this massive project. And that's what I bought into, and I think that's what a lot of other people bought into as well.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, it's been unfortunate the way they've decided to go about it, because they don't put the game elements in the game for you to say this is fun or this is not. You can literally only say this works or this doesn't. That is all they're really taking feedback on. And like, you know, going back to the damn looting thing, they literally wrote somewhere, we're going to put it in and then we will gather feedback after. Like almost as if they were like, I don't want to hear what you have to say. And it was like, but like, guys, nobody's going to use your looting system if there's no point in looting anything. Why are you doing work if nobody's going to use it? Because the whole point is for you to use it. You like is the only reason that I'm logging into 315 to open a container to make sure that the red armor is in it, that you said, hey, only put red armor in this box? Like, no, that should not be the case. I should be playing the game and giving feedback on, that was a very good experience. I went down to that bunker. Those NPCs were a threat, which we all know that they won't be. And then I looted something and it felt good. Or the opposite. And guess what? I can already tell you it's going to be the opposite. I'm going to go down. The NPCs are going to stand still. I'm going to kill all of them. I'm going to loot a container. There's going to be a med pen, a bottle of water, and some stupid armor that has nothing to do with anything that I need to do. Done.
Yeah.
Feedback
well, I don't
complete.
disagree with you. Yeah. I definitely don't disagree with you. I'm happy that they're now moving away from, let's get something tier 0 completely bare bones into the game to test. And as we said, it's only his team so far. Hopefully with him going, hey, this works, let's get everyone else onto this. So at the moment we still need to wait for Richard to do proof of concept. That's what we're going to be waiting for. We're going to have to wait for him to go, this thing is now done in Squadron 42, bring it across to the PU, and then if it is that much of a bit of experience, he can now go proof of concept. Hey, it works. People are happy. There is gameplay, and we're getting better feedback than what we're doing previously. But it's going to be how long is that going to take to get to there? Because we know that TLDR, Squadron 42 out faster, better content. Thumbs up, guys.
But also TLDR. Features, like the most important thing, and I think this was the thing that you clipped out, was that any feature that is coming from that specific team will not be delivered to the game by the people who make the features. So it will now be delivered by the people who make the features fun. Yes. So instead of the team who makes the features going, okay, we put it in the game, the people who are going to be putting it in the game are going to be the people who make missions, are going to be the people who make environments, are going to be the people who do basically those two things. I mean, I don't know what else you would tie it into, but the gameplay side of things. They're going to take that feature, now it's theirs. So it's very similar to the artists make the ship, but then they pass it on to the people who do the vehicle experience to make sure that the weapons that come with it, or that it works within the balance of the game, which they're never good at either, right? We all know that every ship that comes in is always overpowered, blah 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 blah. But I think that's the kind of a similar example of the point that I'm trying to make, is that is the big positive, and that's the big change, is that the feature team that has nothing to do with gameplay, and this is very much the example of looting, is the people who are delivering looting. I think this is the last example of people who are under Richard's pillar, or I don't even know if these people are under Richard's pillar, that are delivering something without the gameplay involved. Because those people are the ones who literally were saying that, the feature is going to go out there, but they're only the people who like wrote the code about how the random loot will exist. They're the ones who made the UI or whatever. They're not the people who go, this would be a fun mission, let's do that. Those are the people that need to take over those features. And that's a huge and very good change.
Yeah. And, his pillar is something that us, the player base, will probably interact with the most. Because it is, effectively the player interaction team is under his pillar. So FPS combat, all that kind of stuff, what he deals with outside of, mining and salvage and all that, which is the ship experience team, I think. What us, the player base, is going to get is the majority of what Richard's team handles. So hopefully we will get. I'm hopeful Richard has been able to instill some faith in him, not the project as a whole, but in him as a developer. He's probably him and Tony Z are probably the only two that I still have faith in as far as the project is concerned.
Yeah, that's fair. That's your opinion, but there's so many people that aren't on camera too. It's like,
oh no,
this is the whole problem with open development. Like the fact that you even say that is so ridiculous. Not that you have that opinion; it's not ridiculous. The fact that it's even a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the fact that we're having this discussion is so stupid.
Yeah, I just hope that we don't get Squadron 42 Part 2. I just hope that they get Squadron 42 out the door, and then that's just it. Just, Chris, give up on that stupid dream of having a 20-chapter movie-length game and just focus on the PU. That's what I want. It's not going to happen because Chris's dream is Chris's dream, and that's what we're all funding, and that's what we bought into, and his dream can change whenever he wants it to change, and we're just going to have to put up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, fingers crossed. I'm exhausted, but there is still some light at the end of the tunnel, and got my legs broken, my arms are broken, but I'm still crawling for that light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, guess what? Now you can crawl to a medical bed in 315 and heal them. Congratulations.
And get up on those opioids.
Oh, yeah. Get high on your opioids. All right, Mike. Yeah. I guess we'll leave it there. No, be good, man. Thanks you so much for calling. Yeah.
No worries. Bye.
Bye now. All right, and our final caller is Virgil. Hello, Virgil.
Hey, is the mic good?
Yeah, you sound great. You sound like a content creator almost. Interesting.
I sound like a content creator, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh. Ugh.
Gross, right?
Anyways.
Have you started complaining about griefers yet?
Have I?
Yeah. Then you're not a content creator.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. All right, well, let's start. We'll because I guess Xeno with me will be pretty interesting. So let's just do the roadmap one first, and we'll continue where Michael left off.
Yep.
For me, I think the big one is that I think we're kind of all taking this reasonably well, considering what they're proposing is the change, but I think that everybody's tune is going to completely change on Wednesday when this new roadmap comes out.
True, dude. True.
It's gonna be riots, man. It's gonna be so bad when everyone sees that salvaging's gonna get another year and stuff like this. So I'm surprised that people are this relaxed. But I think we're going to feel the real weight of it come Wednesday. And I don't envy Jake's job on Wednesday.
No,
but
I just think that I actually don't think salvage is going to be affected by this specific change unless the specific change goes across the entire company. The difference is that salvage, how does it get used in Squadron 42, right? So the whole Squadron 42 priority thing, where does mining come into play with that other than a mining ship may be in the background or a salvage ship may be in the background. So the proving of FPS mechanics makes sense for Squadron, right? But the proving of salvage mechanics doesn't. So it's a little bit of of a weird scenario where do you prove out the mechanics of things that are just for the PU? You can only really prove them out in the PU. I just hope that they, like, here's the deal, is the idea of us testing whether or not trolleys work or whether or not you can drag a friggin' body, like, we're better than that, I think, as a community, where we're also better than that as a game company. Like, what the fuck are we paying QA for if they can't test if that works or not in the live server? Done. Yeah, it works. Done. Easy. You know, like, I don't get it. So the idea of actually having the features in with the coinciding gameplay, that's where we come in.
And that's something we complained about, right? Like, I remember seeing...
Yeah, and got told we don't know anything about game dev.
Saw eye to eye with you on that. Well, like, is that they'd bring in some, like, gameplay system and there was nothing to do with it. Like, the cargo decks, that one always makes me laugh. But, like, you know, arresting, you know, lore and the lore V2, all that stuff, like, it hasn't changed the game. Like, there's nothing different. Nothing to go specifically do in this patch now that it's here. Like, I kind of appreciate that they're, like, acknowledging that they keep bringing in a new tool, but there's nothing to do with it, and the content doesn't, like, it's funny, I'm a bit more upbeat about the last couple patches and the changes and the announcements they've been making. I feel like they're going in a good direction lately, to be honest.
It feels like they're focusing on a video game.
But...
Yeah, no, I don't think it's copium. I think it does really feel like their focus is on an actual video game instead of I don't know what it was before. If it was my wife always calls it playable concept art. And it feels like it's less playable concept art and more of the focus is on actually making it feel like a video game, you know?
And it does feel like they're turning a corner when it comes to trying to make this start to feel like a video game, because the whole time it was just like you logged into an empty verse, you hopped in whatever ship came out this quarter, and, you know, you spent a week or two on it, and then you were just cruising along. Like, doing nothing really. And now it feels like they're actually trying to put food on the plate and keep us busy and rotating between, like, dynamic events and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I gotta say, man, like, I'm really starting to get happy with it. You know, outside of the normal issues or whatever, but it definitely feels like I'm playing a game now. Specifically this patch. Like, I think this patch has done crazy things in comparison to, you know, how average the last patch was. But no, I'm really upbeat about it. But the problem is too, is like, are we gonna be in the dark more with the roadmap thing now too? Like,
I mean, what they're saying is that the progress tracker shouldn't change. So being in the dark isn't really a thing, right? Like, you'll see them, okay, we're working on, I don't know, just use random thing here, like maybe the cutter tool. Let's use that as an example. Like, you'll see that, like, with the progress bar going all the way through.
Delayed?
No, I don't think it gets further delayed. It's just it'll be working in Squadron 42, and then I guess delayed, yes, because you won't see it on the.
I'm just trying to.
I think there'll be less
visualize...
cards on the release view in the next little bit.
I guess, like, the whole time he was explaining it, I was trying to, like, visualize, okay, like, how am I going to keep track of things now? And yeah, I feel like I'm still confused. Like, I get what he's saying, but how's that going to change things? Like, is he just saying that they're going to be further polished and delayed, or are we going to be in the dark more until it's ready? Or
I imagine we'll be in the dark more until it's ready. And it really comes down to Jared, right? Jared's doesn't seem shy when it comes to going like, hey, there's this thing, homesteads, that are very early, but I'm going to show them to you. And I don't believe that's a good thing. I think he's already worn out homesteads, and I already don't give a shit when I see them. So, like, personally, I don't like that. But at the same time, it seems like we won't be in the dark on them developing things if he decides to show them. It just comes down to, like, if it doesn't have anything to do with the Squadron 42 story, why can't he show how, like, the cutter works? Or why can't he show how medical gameplay works or whatever, right? So it really comes down to him and what he wants to do there about us being in the dark. The problem is that you're going to have the Homestead issue where you're going to see the cutting tool over the course of like 4 months or something, where it normally would have been, here's the cutting tool, it cuts things, but there's nothing to cut. But here you go.
You cut one thing.
Here's 315. Exactly. So there's nothing to do with it. Now, hopefully, it's here's the cutting tool, and then you'll see cutting missions or something like that on the progress tracker.
Boarding
and then
ships or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's the difference. And while that delays things and slows things, that, like they said in the video,
it might not be as big a letdown.
Yeah, exactly. It speeds up the development of an actual video game.
Yeah.
Instead of them honest, going, like, here's your cutter, by the way, we're not going to look at that cutter for the next 4 years because we have better things to do. Now you are told as the content teams to go, do something with this cutter. This is your priority now. And then go. And that's what they do.
And I'd almost like, I mean, I want to know that they're on track, but yeah, like, you know, constantly reading the roadmap being like, oh, look, this next patch is going to be good. And then the range of emotions you go through when they pull it out and replace it with something petty, or, you know, like, I think we're all getting pretty tired of the back and forth with the roadmap. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe now we can actually have like reasonable expectations when something comes in, and not just like, you know, which is us being woke, really, that salvaging V0 is going to be like something super basic. So
yeah, I mean, they've always talked about it just being
I'm not sure.
They've always talked about salvage just being like the surface material of the ships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's always going to feel like, what do you do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And then another
like
thing,
if salvage doesn't come with repair, what's the point? Like if you can't take the salvage and then repair your ships with it later, with those materials that you break down or something, I don't see the reasoning behind ever doing it, other than the usual watching your UEC account go up. Which, by the way, like, we're definitely going to get a wipe. Like, how can we not?
Oh, so I hope so, because every time anyone makes like a thread wipe, a thread about the wipe in the Spectrum, it's like a bloodbath. There's so many people that are against it. It blows my mind.
Would you?
Yeah, it's like,
would you be against? Like, I would not be against wipe all UEC. I don't necessarily know if I care if they take people's ships that they've purchased away. I think that that's not really that big of a deal if they let them keep them. But I also like the idea of, like, I'd like to just grind from zero again. Why not?
Yeah, I would too. But I think the problem here, like, and this is why I'm dying for you to do an economy episode one day for this, but like, is and I was
if there
one of the
was
people
an
that
economy,
was, like,
I
making
would.
a thread. Yeah, yeah, and that's my whole issue, right? But like, yeah, every time I even made a thread saying like, we need a wipe bad, like everything is dead, the ecosystem is dead. But the reality is, and I'm not a trader myself, but trading is in such a bad place that if they wipe the economy, everyone's doing bounty missions and don't interact with each other anyway. Like, because it's not meta to do so. Or if you like mining and refining and stuff, it's not going to spring life to an ecosystem. And the biggest problem that I have with the wipe and UEC in general is that the people that are putting price tags on things do not play the game. Like, how is trading where you are investing, the only loop where you're actually investing your own UEC, your own time in, with all the risk literally at the bottom of the meta? It's the worst thing you can do to earn money. When things like bounty hunting, and the only thing you put on the line to bounty hunt is a 2-minute reclaim and 500 UEC. Yeah. How is that the best way to make money? Like, the economy doesn't make any sense. And I think that a wipe has to get paired with like some balance changes on the economy. But I desperately want to wipe. I think like the ecosystem's completely dead. Like, piracy doesn't exist. Security for cargo hauling, it doesn't exist. Like, all of this stuff doesn't exist. What good's Jumptown if no one cares for the reward?
Exactly. Like, if the reward is money, it doesn't matter. The reason why I think XenoThreat worked well even though the reward was stupid, is that there was a tangible physical reward that wasn't just UEC. Even though we all made quite a few credits from doing the event, I personally didn't give a crap about the little paid 2,000, paid 4,000, paid 40,000. Like, none of that mattered to me. I just kept looking at my reputation, right? The problem, I think, with what you're saying, and even with what I'm saying, is I think we need a wipe because of the monumental change to like the fact that there's going to be inventories and that the global,
so good.
like the just in general, I feel like my reasoning behind wanting a wipe, or the fact that I think we need one, is for the people that have like 1,000 med pens in their global inventory. Like how the hell are they supposed to deal with that? Like they have to wipe for just that reason, but for economy reasons, like Virgil, they're in 3.15, I don't see an economy. They're still not selling back, right? They're still not. I don't think the cargo changes are coming in 3.15 completely. I don't know for sure. You know, obviously medical is going to be a thing where when we die, there's this, hopefully our stuff in our body is left there and we have to go and retrieve it, things like that. But I don't see there being the even remote resemblance of an economy coming in 3.15 yet. So I feel like, and I hope, and I think people should prepare maybe for this over the next year or so, is that there probably are going to be multiple wipes. And that's that's just the nature of it. Like, I'm sorry, the same people that are crying about wipes are the same people that say like you don't know anything about game development or it's just an alpha. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my god, shut up.
It's been like what, 2 years since the last wipe or something. It's been like so long.
Since
I
3.8,
like the same attritions that I bought week 1 2 years ago. I don't care about anything. Like UEC's nothing. As long as I can repair my ship, I just don't care about any of it. And it's not a good feeling in a video game, feeling like, you know, you just have nothing to purchase, nothing to work towards. And you know, you just can swipe your credit card and get literally anything anyway. So it's just, and this is where like SCL like really gave me some hopium here, which was the like you lose stuff when your character dies, like what's on you is gone. And
the thing is those things don't matter, Virgil. Like the FPS stuff is so cheap, doesn't matter, creates no change. And like this is the problem.
No, I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
You know?
Sorry,
that's the problem.
Yeah. I think for me though, and I was explaining this to a couple people earlier, it wasn't that excited me so much. It was the fact they were willing to do it. Yeah. Like, which makes me think ships are next. Yeah. Like, you know, it's going to start, because, you know, if we say, okay, if we can loot players on the ground and we lose the stuff we have on the ground when we die, and the spaceship variant of that happens, and then we're repairing limbs, we're like halfway to Tarkov. Like,
yeah, the only thing is like what the first caller said. Yeah, the only problem is what the first caller said is that, and this was the one thing that I said, I was like, I'm not asking for much here, but when we do looting, we need to bring in more weapon attachments. That has to be an initiative, because the armor, I feel like it's like a huge overhaul to make those changes, but if we bring in a bunch of different weapon attachments that really change the way each weapon feels, then the looting might feel like it matters a little bit. And then the other thing is like ammo should come along. Like, so unfortunately, this is the opposite of what Rich is saying, where we're going to get it again. We're going to get this feature again, where why am I doing it in some cases? And then over the next year, we're probably going to get the better weapon attachments. We're going to get weapon ammo stripping. We're going to get, you know, the physical ammo and all that stuff, where all of those things will matter more. Because what matters in Tarkov, right? It's like ammo and weapon attachments and things for your hideout, which is not something that we really have in Star Citizen. So if we're going to make the comparisons, it's really going to be on the ammo and weapon attachment side, and I guess medical stuff. Yeah. Right.
But that also, that feeling of like, you know, like investing in survival, and then, you know, you beat someone else. I know I'm just PvP brain, but like you beat someone else, you know that they lost like what they had on them,
And they're mad.
And then you,
Yeah.
and you feel good for winning, and then you feel horrible for losing. But because you feel horrible for losing, is why it felt so good to win.
Exactly.
Like, that's what like I want the feeling of I won, and then I lost. And
Exactly.
I think both of those are super critical of the game. And yeah, the fact that they're going in that direction and kind of feeding us the vegetables is just so good. But yeah, you're right. Like, this doesn't change anything. I don't equip anything besides like an undersuit. That's it. Like, and a hop in a ship.
Yeah, because it's a
But
difference of
just-
what, 1 bullet per gun. If you put on heavy armor, like it almost makes no difference at all. Like, there is
It's
a
not even for that. Like,
huge rebalancing
the
that has to
fact-
happen.
just the fact that like there's not much ground content for me. Like, the only ground content I even experienced in the last year was like clearing crime set at SPK. And I used to have a lot of fun with that, actually, but I just don't participate in ground stuff a lot. But
Yeah.
like that's my point though, is like, it wasn't that, you know, that's going to change everything. It was just that that's confirming the game's direction, and to me
Yeah.
that's super exciting.
Agreed.
So, because they're like, if this is halfway, you know, which is like limbs, losing stuff and looting stuff, and they get ships, like, man, we got a game on our hands. Like, really, it's gonna get really fun. So yeah, I'm on massive hopium with that stuff, and I think
Me too.
it's good.
I've been looking for, like, when I made the comment a while back about, like, I'm giving these guys until next year's CitizenCon, and if I don't feel like I can play this game consistently, I'm probably, I'm not going to quit the game entirely, but I'm done. Like, I'm done putting in the mental energy into this trash. Like, I'm so sick of it. And the thing, like, the expectations that I have are very low. It's basically like having a starting point and having an end point, and having the ability for that to recycle often. So it's essentially Daisy gameplay. You start on the beach, you move north, you loot on the way, you die, you go back, right? I'm not asking for much more than that. And I feel like that's...
you build up a stash, all that jazz.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's somewhat realistic to expect with looting coming online now, them hopefully fleshing it out more, mag stripping, ammo, things like that. I feel like I can feel like there's a story that happens in the game. And, you know, for me as a content creator, the most important thing is for there to be a start, middle, and an end to every stream, or multiple streams put together that people can engage with. And in my opinion, that's how I've always played video games, and maybe that's why, like, streams have worked out for me or something. I don't know why I've had some minor success with streaming, but that's how I've always enjoyed video games, is even though it's a multiplayer game that has no story, you're able to... The game is able to create one for you based on the game mechanics and what direction you feel like going in, right? Whether it's your side of the story, which is the opposite side of mine, in a lot of cases, right? So I'm not asking for DayZ, Star Citizen, to become DayZ, but I can see that that's the kind of feel that it will be for some time, at least on the FPS side, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't, like, everything has, like, no weight to it right now. Like, you die, you reclaim your ship in 2 minutes, it's whatever. But, like, now, say you're clearing your crime set in the bunker or something, and you kill 3 bounty hunters that came after you, like, that's
not only are you still
way
getting to
bigger
clear
deal
your
now.
stat. Yeah, not only are you still able to clear your
like,
stat,
you
but
loot
now you
their
have all their
stuff.
gear.
Yeah, like, you loot their stuff, they're back to square zero with a flight suit, or waking up in a hospital. Like, you know, it's a way bigger deal, and everything's gonna have more weight to it, and it's just cool, man. Like,
yeah, and you can't just loot their stuff, put it in your global inventory, and backspace back to Grimhex. Because,
and
like,
it's for the first time we're gonna be thinking about, like, oh, like, I have to go get a fresh set of armor from here. Like, oh, like we got maintenance to do now.
How about this?
Cool,
how about this one? You're at SPK, or you're at a bunker clearing your crime stat. You can't just leave your ship there open.
Yeah.
and somebody goes, you know how like the standard is, all right, before I go down to the bunker, I'm going to blow up his ship just to be an asshole. There's really no purpose to doing it, right? But I'm going to blow up his ship just to be a dick. Now there's a purpose, because if you blow up their ship, they cannot backspace and keep all the stuff that they have. So it's like they have to call somebody to get at it. Like it has meaning now. So this is like, some people are typing like Imagine in chat and stuff like that. This is not Imagine. This is actually discussing how the game is changing and how the game will be played within months. You know, it's a major difference to Star Citizen. And
what about
that weight is actually there.
He mentioned ships, like, you know, not just, you know, magically being pulled out of a hat at any station. Like, you know, if your ship is over at X station, then it's gonna be there. You gotta go there to get it. I don't know like what the specific details about that are, but like now if you end up in the wrong station, you're literally gonna have to get a taxi, like some guy in local chat, or throw up a beacon to get you a lift to where your ships are all parked.
God,
like, so there's a whole gameplay loop there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think it's good. It's inconvenience, but I think subconsciously we all want inconvenience, man.
Yeah.
Like, we want a reason to have to work.
Absolutely. Like, here's the thing. The chat's going to go crazy. I play this game called Eco, okay? And what we did is we saw another server that the developers were running that made incredible inconvenience. They made changes to the way their food system works and inconvenienced everybody. The whole server called it masochist. Their developers called it masochist. I went to them and said, can I have those game files so I can put that into my server? And they were like, are you serious? And I said, yes. Our community that I built in this server, all they are doing is complaining about food the whole time. But what it's created, is this, they all have to come together to deal with this problem. Mm-hmm. And it's brought, what they don't realize is that problem has brought everyone together to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's created this community and this closeness of them. And that was the point the entire time. And that's just what I think is missing. And that's kind of what was cool about XenoThreat, is that even though it's not like a problem, they put this thing together where the community was forced to work together. And like, if you mention, if this is actually a thing, which we don't know, I'm not sure, at least I don't remember hearing what you mentioned about the, like, if your ship is here, it's there. Because I don't know if you remember, there was a PTU a long time ago. I hope this wasn't just in Evocati. I don't think it was. If it was, whatever. Strip me of Evo. I don't give a shit at this point. There was one patch where you could pay to, instead of claim your ship, you would pay to have your ship move from the location that it was at to the location that you are at, and you did it through the ASOP terminal. It was in one PTU patch.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And it was super buggy, and they got rid of it.
The reason they got rid of it is because you could put cargo in it, and the cargo would just ship right to where you were.
Yeah.
So obviously that's a problem.
That's what they do.
Yeah. So obviously people were like, easy. Like, now I don't even have to get, like, I don't even have to fly anymore. This is great. So
yeah, because I remember I told Burks, I was like, no, it's ships too, dude. He's like, no, it's not. And then I watched it back, and he was very specific. Like, yeah, like, you know, you can't just magically pull your ship out. You have to go get it. And like, as if it's going to. So, yeah, I think we got to pay close attention to that, because it looks like it's going to change heavily when it comes to claiming of ships and moving around the systems and stuff like that. And that'd be cool. Like,
absolutely,
and all these people that have got 600 eyes for no reason.
Now they have a reason.
The 300 series with the back, like, that no one ever uses. Yeah, it's all worth it now. So
yeah,
if you can be a glorified taxi driver, that's going to make at least 5% of the community happy, right? That's a whole gameplay loop.
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned with
they
that.
added an inconvenience.
Absolutely, and that's what I mentioned about that eco comment is the. I don't know if you guys are familiar. There's a DayZ content creator that I'm absolutely in love with. His name is JLK, and he's a YouTuber. So just look up JLK DayZ on YouTube, and you'll find their videos. One of the problems with DayZ, right, is that you die and you start at the coast. So these guys created a taxi service in the game that would take you from the coast to your base or whatever, right? And for a fee or something like that. And I can totally see that happening in Star Citizen if this is a problem, right? Is that there would be just like taxi drivers going from, hey, I need a pickup from here, blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to have people like Virgil who's going to take the taxi drive and then kill people and take all their stuff. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I would not do that.
No chance, right? 0% chance that you would do that. Hopefully there's an actual reputation system that actually works in the game before you do that, you know?
All right,
we'll
so we
see.
should probably talk about Xeno, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Because we've taken a while, but it's funny because I don't really participate in Xeno for the same reason like other people do. I know, shocker. But for me, like I think that CIG deserved the credit where it's due here. Like the problem is you and me and like a lot of people, we tend to like really shit on CIG sometimes, but man, like XenoThreat, I know I'm back on the copium, boys, but like XenoThreat for me was like a demo or a glimpse of like the actual game and what it could be for me. And you know, you can see if you go on the Star Citizen Reddit and you see those like 10-second clips of like, you know, the menacing, you know, capital ships fighting each other, and all you can see is their shadows and stuff, and you're all versing. Oh, I can't look at your chat, but you verse, it's gonna throw me off. But you're like, I don't know, the whole time I was like, there's no way they can get these capitals in game. There's no way they can get 30 people fighting and all that jazz. And it's the only time it's held up. And I was sitting there thinking, like, there's no way, like, any of this is going to come to life, and it is. And it looks so good, too. Like, you know, the artwork they've done in there, the clouds, the gameplay, it's massive thumbs up. Like, the performance is obviously dog. It has issues.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can find a server where it's silk.
Yeah.
But, like, it's a big deal, and it's super good. There's always the issue that, like, yeah, like, I'm going there because it's a choke point because the whole server's there. To which I know there's like pretty strong feelings that PvP shouldn't be there. But I think it's so good, man. It's so good. I'm gonna like really miss. I'm probably like not gonna log in when it's gone after tomorrow. Like I'll be waiting for the next thing for Ninetales to spin back up.
Oh God.
But it's yeah. I just super good. Like just thumbs up all around on it. I think they've done a really good job. I think Luke was heavily involved with it, right?
Yes.
But I think that they should be like really proud of it for sure. Like
I agree.
They've even made it like super inconvenient to go like I know like quote unquote grief. Like if I want to go there, like you have to eyeball where the site is. We had to like rehearse how to get there. And use all the like right markers to get to the boxes where you guys are doing the cargo and stuff like that. And it's difficult too, right? Like the NPCs are no joke now. And what's interesting too is with the balance changes, the capacitors and stuff, and the crazy buffs that happen with multi-crew, the people that are at Xeno tend to be in some sort of multi-crew ship. Like every server I go to, there's a hammerhead. And I tell you what, like I bring like 5 guys that are super sweaty at the game. We can't beat a hammerhead. We can't beat the hammerhead anymore. Like it's the same thing with Connies. They're hard to kill. And so are like the torp ships. Like so, it's pretty neat. Like these guys are really capable of defending themselves. We get to have our fun. Usually, like you know, we just try to go under the radar and be inside the chaos when it's all hitting off. And you know, some people like really against PvP is going there, but it's good fun, man. And,
it's been interesting. Like I think 2 of your guys, I think it was some of your guys, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, Slytherin and thinking it.
It was okay, yeah. So 2 of them, it was really interesting the way they played. They did it just like that. They were like using stealth and then really kind of playing how you would expect a pirate to play, like little pot shots, popping in, popping out, trying to avoid getting teamed up on. It was just in and out and really just like ultra annoying the way that they were playing, and it was really cool to see actually the way things have changed compared to that old just fly in alpha strike shit experience that you had in the past. Like listen, I died almost instantly every time I played them, but I at least had the opportunity to take down all of their shields before I died. So it felt like
Yeah.
so you're saying there's a chance moment, you know what I mean? At the very least. So it just takes me, well, not getting 2v1'd, and it also takes the a little bit more practice, and I feel like I have a chance to get lucky and maybe kill a good pilot occasionally. So it does feel like combat is in a better direction than it was in the past.
Yeah, the separation from like a really good player to a like, you know, a normal player day to day, it's a lot smaller than it used to be.
It's
like,
still really big.
It doesn't matter,
but yeah,
it doesn't matter like how good. Okay, you know, there's people that I know that would win like a 1v6.
Yeah,
back then, like
Yep.
without breaking a sweat. They can't take 3 anymore at all. Like, and 2 is a real tough wrestle. Like, so, yeah, and then especially if it's multi-crew, if it's like 2 of us have a hard time killing a hurricane, like hammerheads are the scariest thing ever now. Like, it's crazy, and it's so good though that's the case. But yeah, I just think, but yeah, I think Xeno's done really well. Like, you ever watched Harry Potter the movie?
Yeah, some of them.
You know, remember the scene where like they try to smuggle Harry out of the house and they like take him up into the clouds, and there's that huge battle where they're all it reminds me of that, like, you know, fighting in the middle of a thunderstorm and stuff. I don't know, man. I just thought it was so theatrical, the whole thing. I was super happy with it. I just think Xeno's really dope, to be honest.
I just look at it at this really. The first Xeno didn't feel like it was a good starting point, and this one feels like it's a really good spot to jump off from and build off of. It was like the pacing felt good, and the voice acting was consistent, and it was guiding you very well, and I still think the combat versus the Idris just doesn't, like, they just don't have the like the fleet mechanics just yet, where it's like the fighters fight the fighters and this ship fights the capitals. I don't get that feel from the game yet, but we all know that that's what they're attempting to do, so it's just going to take time, kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know, it just feels good.
Yeah, no, how do you feel about when people attack it? Like,
I don't care. Like, I actually didn't mind. It was super fucking annoying, but I didn't mind necessarily them doing it. Like, it just comes down to the same thing. I don't understand why necessarily, like, I don't know what you find the fun in it when you don't gain from it. But I guess it really comes down, like, the whole thing is it still is seal clubbing in a lot of cases. Like, the people that are most likely doing these events are not interested in taking part in PvP at all, have never done any sort of practice besides bounty hunting, right? Which is like the easiest thing in the world. So when you go there and kill people, I mean, the first things, my first experience of being killed was by your guys, was they first shot the ships that had the cargo in it. Right?
Yeah, okay.
So that was like, you know, what do you get out of that? Nothing. So it's like, you probably laugh a little bit, but that's it. And then the idea of, you know, I think the goal was to get us to fight back, which didn't work. I was the only person who fought them. And I took the 2v1 every time to let the rest of the people complete the next stage of the mission. So we were able to deliver everything because I took the 2v1 over and over and over again. But they just didn't want to, they don't engage in it, Virgil. Like, when I came on your podcast, like, this was the things that I said to you guys, is like, you expect the response, but you don't get it as much as you should, because these people don't care.
I think we get it a lot more now,
and you probably will in
315, like at Port Olisar. But the thing, like, the reality is like, when we head over there, or if I head over there, whatever, it's not like I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to pull the legs off of ants or insects. Like,
But that's
it's
what you're
not
doing, you know what I
seal
mean?
clubbing or anything. Like, yeah, I'd say it used to be, but it's
It's
not like I'm
unfortunate.
not going. I guess what I'm just saying is my motivation isn't that I just want to go shoot people that don't know how to play the game. It's more like I've got 4 people. There's probably 30 people over there, and they all have a common objective. So if we put ourselves between them and their objective, we're gonna have like a bunch of fun, and that's the only way I look at it. Like, I just like shoot. Like, the reality is the guys that we play with, they just like shooting spaceships. That's it. Like, and
Yeah.
NPCs just don't excite anyone really.
No.
But the thing is like it's the only activity, and it's like the only territory, and by territory I mean like location that people are invested in and are trying to work towards anything is Xeno. Like, everyone's trying to grind the reputation. It's the only objective in the game, and it's shared the whole server. So that's the only, like, that's why.
Can I interject a little?
Being an inconvenience. Yeah, sure.
When you've done it, have you? Because mine was later in the event when I got attacked by them, and there was like not that many people taking part in it. In your experience,
Yeah.
like early in the event, did people band together and fight back? Did you get the experience that you
all
were
the
expecting?
time.
Okay, yeah, then there you go.
Every time, yeah. I think the reason I know what you're talking about. I think that just happened because you were at like a really dead hour.
It was,
to be honest.
yeah,
Like,
it was a dead event. It was dead in comparison to all the other ones.
yeah, like every time we go, there's probably like, you fight anywhere between 10 and 15 people every
Nice.
time, and usually like we can't take the hammerhead. But like, yeah, it's. I guess the thing is like it's the only time where I wish that trade routes existed and we needed UEC, and then like we could go fight there, or like Jump Town was a thing, because the only way to get content versus people is to try and take something from them, and if you try to take away Xeno, or the a huge battle that everyone's trying to be a part of, that's where you get the most content. Like, Xeno for me is just like PvP on tap. I know that every single server I go to is just going to have a bunch of people at it. They're all working towards a common goal, and I'm happy to go to prison if I lose and when I head there and stuff like that. But it's fun, and to be honest, I think that the game's balanced it to a point where it definitely is in favor of the people defending it. Like, you got to allocate people to picking up the cargo, but you also have to have, I believe, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Xeno NPCs spawn in and attack you guys while you're doing the cargo, right?
Correct.
So like,
yes,
you're coordinating like escorts and stuff while other people are on the ground. And yeah, like it's just good. It's sad that it got advertised one point as like, I remember, I don't know who it was, if it was Luke or someone that said,
I think it was Tyler,
it was
but
more a PvE event or something.
I think it might have
It's
been
like,
Tyler.
It's really
or no, it might have been Luke as well. It is a PvE event, but that doesn't mean that you can't go there.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
put like a bunch of hurdles to make it a hassle. Like, you have to eyeball and fly 700 kilometers.
I was Tony Z. That's right.
To get to the site. Yeah, Tony Z. To get to the site, like, there's enough there. And I watch other PvPers struggle with it, right? Like, they die, they respawn Grim Hex, which is a giant jump. You can't respawn at Michael 1, so that helps. The fact that the Comrades there, so they go to prison if they get caught, that helps. And they could probably add like a couple tiny things, like, there's players with crime stat on their way, some sort of voice little notification that maybe the voice actor could give when there's players coming, that would fit into the story.
Imagine
or
the
something
server
like
figuring that out.
Yeah, right. Like, but yeah, it's just it's a shame that the most fun of PvP I've had is like, the one activity they had mentioned is more PvE focused. But yeah, I think Xeno's awesome, man. Just super good. And Jump Town rotating around and stuff should be really interesting. And between Xeno, Ninetales, and Jump Town being the events, and hopefully they aren't happening once every month or something. Like, they actually, you can consistently bounce between the three. And yeah, I think the game's really good. I think CJ have to put a huge focus on what's the game like without these events. But
it's
all upside,
non-existent.
all thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's dead. It's dead. Without that, like, I'm at Portal, nothing to do. Like, don't log in unless these things are happening anymore.
Yep.
Because that's when it actually feels like a game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me.
All right, brother.
Super fun. I love talking about this stuff, man. Good stuff. And hey, play World of Warships, boys. World of Warships.
Please.
All right.
Don't
Yeah,
make me look
please.
bad. I'm looking so bad on this one. I didn't know that everybody had it when I took this deal, so oh well.
I'm sure people will do it from YouTube, so
Yeah.
it's
hopefully.
a good game. Like, I've actually
It
played
is
it.
actually fun.
Yeah. Like, it really,
Yeah.
like, I can't believe you're getting paid to get people to play that, because it's people legit play that. So
Yeah.
good stuff.
Virgil.
Alrighty, man. That was fun. Talk to you
Talk
later.
to you. Be good, buddy. All right, guys. That is the early version of Answer the Call. The heavily Australian version of Answer the Call, if you guys didn't notice. So, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. We got in a good hour and a half show, it looks like. So, yeah, thanks for watching. If you're watching on Twitch, you probably did come in a little bit late to this one, so it will be up on YouTube later today. If you're watching on YouTube, you can always take part and Answer the Call at its normal time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Sundays, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, discord.gg/SaltEMike. We have a very active community there talking about all sorts of things, not just Star Citizen. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. It is becoming more and more and more difficult to come up with topics to discuss on this show with the kind of content drought that we have, especially with the one that's probably coming with the road to Digital Citizen Con. So we may be bi-weekly. I haven't really decided yet, but I know you guys really, really enjoyed the show. I mean, the amount of people that are watching today on Twitch at 8 a.m. in the morning is insane to me. So this is the reason why I keep doing these shows, is because I know you guys really, really enjoy them. I just wish that we had more to chat about. So I think over the next little bit, I'm going to start reaching out to the standard kind of towards the end of the patch. Let's reach out to some content creators. Let's have them on the show, talk about them, talk about what they're doing and all that kind of stuff, and take a few callers just to kind of keep us going, right? So that's kind of my expectations with it. But if you're watching on YouTube, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch and you haven't hit the follow button, make sure you guys do so to catch more Answer the Calls and Star Citizen-like live streams. But that will do it for today's show. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week. But I will see you guys tomorrow for a week in review. Bye-bye, everybody.